ओम अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामे गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, dear devotees, for your kind association. We are continuing our study of Shri Bhagavad Gita, and very happy to see you, Ahmed ji and Kamla ji. Thank you for joining. Thank you, Chandar. Thank you, Tushar Prabhu, and thank you all the devotees who have joined. So we have read till the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and today we will start with the 6th chapter. The 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and we are only doing a summary study. We are going fast. The 6th chapter, there are 18 chapters in Bhagavad Gita. The 6th chapter is entitled Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana means to meditate. In this chapter, Lord Krishna is going to teach us the technique of meditation. Dhyana means meditation. Dhyana Yoga means the science of meditation. Yoga means to connect. In Sanskrit, the word yoga means to connect. So dhyan means to connect with the Supreme through meditation. So let us begin. Shri Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So we saw how Karma Yoga has been described so far. How Krishna explained that it is better to work for Krishna than to renounce work. Nishkam Karma Yoga is better than Karma Sannyas. Karma Sannyas means to give up work and not to work, just give up work and become a renunciant. Better than that is to work for the sake of Krishna. That is called Karma Yoga. and without expecting anything for oneself, but doing it for Krishna is called Nishkam Karma Yoga. So Nishkam Karma Yoga is the best. That was explained. Now, Krishna is going to explain another path. So in Bhagavad Gītā, there are different ways of approaching God that have been described. So Bhagavad Gītā is a very broad, all-encompassing scripture. It is not a narrow-minded Shastra. Therefore, Bhagavad Gītā has universal appeal. All the sampradayas, all the religious practitioners have commented upon Bhagavad Gītā. So it's a very broad scripture. It has something for everyone. Krishna is very broad-minded. So he describes Karma Yoga, working for Krishna, that is Karma Yoga. He describes the path of Dhyana Yoga. And then in the previous chapter, we discussed transcendental knowledge. That is Jnana Marg. The path of getting knowledge about Krishna and attaining Krishna through the path of transcendental knowledge. Remember transcendental knowledge? The chapter was called Transcendental Knowledge. So there are many ways that lead to Krishna, that lead to God. One is Karma Yoga, working for Krishna. Second is Jnana Yoga, getting knowledge from the scriptures about Krishna and understanding Krishna, understanding the material world, understanding who we are, analytically studying and understanding everything and approaching Krishna. That is Jnana Marg, transcendental knowledge, what we discussed. And then there is Dhyan Marg, which is what we are going to discuss now. And then finally, after this chapter, this 6th chapter, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 6 chapters will be about Bhakti-Yoga, because that is the best. It includes Karma Yoga, essence of Karma Yoga, it includes essence of transcendental knowledge, and it includes the very substance of Dhyan. So this chapter 6, is about meditation, Dhyan Yoga. And then subsequently 6 chapters will be about Bhakti. So there are 4 paths: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga means working for Krishna. Jnana Yoga, Jnana means knowledge, getting knowledge of Krishna and understanding Krishna through the path of transcendental knowledge, divine knowledge. Then there is Dhyana Yoga, which is this chapter, meditating on Krishna. And there is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga means becoming mad for Krishna, in love, loving Krishna. That is the highest. The path of love is the highest. These 4 paths are described: path of action, working, path of knowledge, path of meditation, and path of love. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So Dhyana Yoga, meditation. Verse number 1. Lord Krishna is speaking to Arjuna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. So who is a real sannyasi, a real renounced order of life person, a real renunciant? Who is he? A person who works according to their duties in this world, but is not attached to the fruits of work. Is not attached to fruits of work. That person is a real renunciant, not a person who lights no fire. Why it is said lights no fire? Because in the traditional Vedic society, when you take sannyas ashram, you are not supposed to cook anything. So you're not supposed to light a fire. You simply beg, and whatever is given, one chapati or little rice, you just eat that. Or if nothing, little milk, someone might give you some milk or some fruit, and you be satisfied with that. But no eating any hot food, no eating hot meal, because hot meal is considered to be luxury. Hot meal, you say na? Are garam garam khilao. Give something hot. Oh, eat quickly, it will become cold otherwise, because eating hot is a luxury. So sannyasis, they were not allowed to light any fire. So they would not cook for themselves. They would never eat a hot meal. So you go and beg means whatever somebody has cooked, they have eaten and is now left behind, they will give something. How you know beggars come, you give them something. We don't tell a beggar, wait, let me cook fresh for you. No, beggar comes, so whatever is there you give, leftover. So that is the meaning of, so that is how sannyasis would live. Therefore, Krishna is saying a real sannyasi is not one who doesn't light a fire and performs no duty, just begging. Instead, better is a person who is working, but with a spirit of detachment, without attachment to the fruits. That is even greater. So you have all the facilities available for enjoyment, but you are not enjoying. A sannyasi has no facility to enjoy. But a person who is working has got all the facilities, but still doesn't enjoy. Like Ambarish Maharaj. That is greater. That is greater. So that is Krishna's definition of a real sannyasi. One who works according to one's duty, as is obligated means according to duties, but is not attached to the fruits. Verse number 2. What is called renunciation, you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself to Supreme. See, so yoga means to link oneself, connect with the Supreme. So renunciation is to be known same as yoga. Same as yoga, that is linking oneself to the Supreme. For one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Very, very important point. Krishna is saying a very important point here. That he's telling Arjun, O son of Pandu, Arjun, one can never become a yogi unless one gives up the desire for enjoyment, sense enjoyment. Sense enjoyment means enjoying with our senses, with our tongue, eyes, touch, ears, nose. Because we all have a tendency to enjoy. We want the best fragrance, Armani, or different, brands, fragrance, expensive fragrance. We want to enjoy with our nose. We want to eat the best restaurant food, gourmet food we want to eat, because we want to enjoy with our taste. We want the most handsome or most beautiful partner, so that everybody knows, oh, I'm so successful. I've got a beautiful partner or handsome partner. And we want to hear the best music. My son has some app, I'm forgetting the name. I have to pay $10 every month for that membership. I told him, why? Spotify. Hot Spotify. So that is some music app, and he's all the time listening to that. So I told him, why are you listening to all that music? It makes no sense. Instead, you hear nice kirtan. He said, Dad, I will hear kirtan also. And then he showed me, I'm listening to Madhav Prabhu. I said, good. But Madhav Prabhu's kirtans are available free. Why do you need? But anyway, so this Hot Spotify and other these apps, they are for music, because you want to hear nice music. So fragrance, sense of touch, eyes, we want to see nice music. We want to watch nice movies. It should have nice special effect. Steven Spielberg, Jurassic Park, and all. Nice special effects. People will pay money. So we want to enjoy with our eyes. So these are all desires for enjoyment. Going to restaurants, watching movies, getting a massage. A friend was telling me that Prabhuji, he's not a devotee, but just a colleague. And his weakness is he likes to take massage. Nothing wrong, but he's very attached to, very, very attached to taking massages. And so much so that if he doesn't get a massage, then he starts, I can't work. My body starts aching, and then I have to take. So the over dependence, if we really analyze, see, if we talk to people of this world, they will justify all these things. So what? What is wrong? There's nothing wrong. Maybe nothing wrong on one level. But for a spiritualist who wants to get Krishna, this is absolutely unacceptable. We want to massage the Lord. Not that we want to get massaged. We want to massage Shaligram Shila with nice ghee. We want to massage the lotus feet of the Lord. We don't want to be massaged. Because, my dear friends, please understand, we are in this material world because we want to be enjoyers. So this enjoying mentality is what keeps us in this world. But when we develop the mentality that I am enjoyed, I'm not the enjoyer, I am enjoyed by Krishna, then it opens up the doors to the spiritual world. That is a difference. It's a paradigm shift. From thinking of oneself as the enjoyer, we have to start thinking that I am enjoyed. Monday, so today Saturday, Monday is the divine Tithi of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What did he say? Don't try to see Krishna, but act in a way that Krishna is happy to see you. When we stand before Krishna, we have to behave in such a way that Krishna is pleased to see us. So like that. So therefore, Krishna is clearly saying, I'm going to highlight this. Everyone, please pay attention to the last phrase of the second verse of Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna is saying to Arjuna, one can never become a yogi unless he gives up the desire for sense gratification, for sense enjoyment. So if we have an enjoying mentality, we will be stuck in this material world. If we have the mentality that I am enjoyed by Krishna, then it will open up the doors to the spiritual world for us. Verse number 3. For one who is a neophyte in the eightfold yoga system, work is said to be the means. And for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities is said to be the means. So this is very simple to understand. This eightfold yoga system is called Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtha means 8, Anga means limbs. This yoga system has 8 limbs, Ashtanga Yoga system. So this is the path of mystic yoga. Or you can call it Dhyan Yoga also. It's a way of meditating, Dhyan Yoga. So this whole chapter is about Ashtanga Yoga, chapter 6, mystic yoga. By doing this, we can get mystic siddhis. We can become very powerful yogis and get siddhis. Or we may even achieve Paramatma by Ashtanga Yoga, like Dhruva Maharaj did. If we do it properly with the touch of bhakti, and we have a guru like Narad Muni, who is a practitioner of bhakti, then by Ashtanga Yoga we can get Paramatma realization also, like Dhruva Maharaj got in Bhagavatam. So this sounds very difficult to understand, but it's very easy to understand. Look at this verse. It sounds so difficult. For a neophyte, work is said to be the means. And for one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of material activity is said to be the means. So it is very simple. So one who is new to the practice of yoga, work is said to be the means. Work means we have to work and offer everything to Krishna, offer the results to Krishna. That is the way. Because if such a person is told to prematurely renounce, may not be able to do it. Very difficult. Because mind is too restless. It's better to keep the mind active and engaged in Krishna conscious activity than to have an idle mind. So I will say, okay, from today I give up. I'm not going to be a medical doctor. I'm not going to go to the hospital. I'm going to sit here in this room and I'm going to just meditate on Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. I may do it for some time, but after that I'll get restless. I will start seeing what my neighbors are doing, what people are doing. I'll open what is CNN.com, FoxTV.com. I'll start what's happening in the world. Why? Because that attachment has not developed. I'm still neophyte. So at that stage, better to engage in the world and offer the results to Krishna. So for a neophyte, work is the means. Work and offer the results to Krishna. That is the way. Means that is the way. But one who is already elevated in yoga, one who has made a lot of advancement in the path of yoga, cessation of material activities is said to be the means. For such a person can renounce. Therefore, it is sannyas usually taken at the age of 75. Because by that time, through sadhana, one has made spiritual advancement. One has seen everything. What is to be seen. Whereas if a young person takes sannyas, then the curiosity may be there. I see so many grahasthas going on vacation. I wish I had not taken sannyas. Maybe it is not too late. I'm still 40. Let me get married. Let me get a job. So that desire may come because maturity is not there. So therefore, Krishna is saying that only for one who is elevated in yoga, giving up things, renouncing things is the way. Cessation of material activities is said to be the means. The take-home message in this is we have to be honest with ourselves. We have to understand what level of spiritual advancement we are on and choose a path accordingly. We should not cheat because it looks very fashionable to give up everything and to be a sannyasi. Let me take a sannyas or let me renounce everything. It doesn't work. I know some even devotees, they like give up everything and they go to the dham and within 2 years they run away because too much, too austere to live in Vrindavan, to live in Mayapur. They come back to the cities or they come back to the West. Why? Because that maturity is not there. Glorious that they tried, very good, I'm not criticizing. But the point is, the message of this verse number 3 is, don't become premature Paramhamsa. Don't try to renounce prematurely everything. Step by step, step by step, step by step. Just like in our surgical residency, we start with simple surgeries. First we will do hernia surgery, then we'll do appendix, then gallbladder removal. Then we can do complex surgeries like pancreatic surgeries and Whipples and liver resections. So step by step. Similarly, in the spiritual path, we have to progress step by step. Not that suddenly, from today, I renounce family, I renounce my work, and I'm only going to be a spiritualist. It is not sustainable because we don't have that maturity, that taste. So Krishna is saying, first we have to work and offer everything to Krishna. Then slowly, cessation of all material activities. I hope this is clear. If anything is not clear, you can just unmute and ask. Okay. If you raise hand, I may not be able to see because I'm sharing my screen. Verse number 4. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. Okay. So who is elevated in yoga? So now Krishna said in the previous verse, verse number 3, that in the neophyte stage we should work. In the elevated stage of yoga, it's okay to give up all material activities. So the natural question is, how do we know who is elevated? How do we know who is elevated? So Krishna is explaining. Verse number 4. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires. So see, in the previous verse, just look at the language. In the previous verse, the word used is cessation of material activities. In verse number 4, the question will be asked, so who is advanced? You are saying one who is already elevated in yoga, cessation of all material activities to be done. So who is elevated in yoga? Krishna is explaining. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when a person has renounced all material desires. So which means before giving up material activities, we have to give up material desires. Not that externally we give up material activities, but internally we are harboring desires. Ooh, that is pretender. That is hypocrite. So naturally, organically, through the practice of spirituality, we have to give up the desires. When the desire is only not there to enjoy, then we can give up the activities also. See? So this language is very important. So who is elevated in yoga? One who has renounced all material desires. And such a person neither runs after sense gratification nor engages in fruitive activities. Sense gratification means very clear, to enjoy with our senses, and fruitive activities means doing activities for which we are attached to the fruits. I will do this, but this is what I want in return. Give and take. So that is to be given up. Verse number 5. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind, not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. This is very, very important, my dear friends. I cannot overemphasize the value of this lesson from Bhagavad Gītā. So the question is, okay, so person is elevated who doesn't have material desires for sense gratification, doesn't engage in fruitive activities. All right. How do I get there? How do I get there? Because right now I have all those desires in my heart. Desire for sense gratification. I have, at least, desire for sense gratification. So we have. So how do we overcome them? Krishna is saying in verse number 5, one must deliver oneself, one must save oneself, elevate oneself with the help of his mind. So mind is a very peculiar thing. Anyone who understands the mind can attain perfection in this life. I repeat, anyone who can understand the science of mind can attain perfection in this world. Mind is such a peculiar thing. Krishna says we can deliver ourselves with the help of the mind, not degrade oneself. Krishna is saying in verse 5, the mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. So I'm going to stop the screen share now. We are going to have a little discussion here. Krishna is saying our mind is our friend as well as enemy. And how do we elevate ourselves? With the help of the mind. Now imagine Kamala ji, Ahmed ji, Chandar ji, Tushar Prabhu. Think of someone in your life who is your friend and enemy at the same time. And your life depends on that person. Krishna said the only way to elevate is through the mind. Now imagine a person, he's a friend, but he's also enemy. Isn't that a difficult situation? And the key is in the hand of that person. So how cautiously, how sensitively we have to handle that person in our life, because that person holds the key to our spiritual upliftment. That person is enemy and that person is also a friend. So what does this mean? It has got two things. One, please listen carefully. In life, when we interact with people, we have to keep asking ourselves a question. So now when I interact with Chandarji, when I interact with Tushar Prabhu, or with Kamlaji and Ahmad, when I interact, I have to keep asking internally a question. How can I bring out the best in this person? How can I bring out the best in this person? This is a question we have to constantly ask each other in all our interactions, because sometimes we are so insensitive, or we are not mindful enough in our dealings with others. We bring out the worst in them because of our insensitivity, because of our carelessness. We just bring out the worst in them. And this is the cause of relationships going bad. Our relationship with our mind is also like that. We are not the mind. We just saw. We are a spirit soul. We are living in this body and we have a mind. We are not the mind. Mind is very powerful. Mind can be our friend. Mind can be our enemy. Now, let us make it a little interactive. I want all of you to raise your hands. Tell me some problem that has happened in the recent past, in the world around us, either individually or collectively, something bad, some problem that the world is facing. Would someone like to share something? Something that is bothering us, something that is not good, not right.
Pandemic.
COVID.
Huh?
COVID, Corona thing.
Pandemic.
Okay. So this COVID-19 pandemic that is going on. Now, related to COVID-19, there are differences of opinions, right? Some people are pro-vaccine. Some people are anti-vaccine. Have you all seen fights breaking out because of this during election rallies or during public meetings? People literally fighting with each other over masking, vaccinating, things like that. So why are these fights happening? There's so much talk on the television, on the news channels about this on an ongoing basis. Vaccine, booster vaccine, cloth mask, surgical mask, N95. So many layers of discussions and so much difference of opinion and so much fighting and even hatred and accusing. Those people are like that. Democrats are like that. Republicans are like that. This, that. So much is going on. And actually, I have some friends of mine, doctor friends, and every day, even though I don't want it, but they are so senior to me, I don't want to say to them anything. They send me all these news articles from Fox, from CNN, from Epoch Times, and different news items every day, about some are pro, some are anti. Some are thinking that this is a man-made virus, this is a conspiracy, this is some biological warfare. I mean, we don't know what is going on, but There are such strong differences of opinion, and because of that, there is so much hatred. I'm telling you, you see these people on a day-to-day basis. We are working, we are colleagues, we are physicians. It is impossible to guess how much hatred there is in the heart of people. They have such strong opinions, and anyone who doesn't agree with their opinion, literally there is hatred. That these people are dumb, these people are crazy if they don't get it, because this is my opinion. So why this happens? Why such anxiety, such literally hatred? I mean, it's a strong word to use, but that's what I see. Why? Because of uncontrolled mind. Because in our mind, we are convinced about a particular idea. Anyone who doesn't conform to that idea, I cannot stand it. I cannot tolerate it. So this intolerance is because of uncontrolled mind. Uncontrolled mind. So much anxiety is there. So many times patients come and they tell me, "Doc, I have been exposed. This friend of mine, I went to that friend and just now I came to tested positive for Omicron. What do I do?" There's so much anxiety. And one patient called me, tested positive, and not taken vaccine because doesn't believe in vaccine, got COVID-19 like 2 months ago. You know the main symptom was? The main symptom was chest tightness, difficulty breathing, choking sensation, heart palpitating, racing. Not because of the virus, because of anxiety. Just the diagnosis that I'm COVID positive, this person went into a panic attack. It was a full-blown panic attack. Full-blown panic attack. Oxygen level is normal. There is no fever. Asymptomatic, but just the diagnosis that, yes, you have tested positive. He called me with a panic attack. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. Can I call 911? The wife is talking to me. The patient is talking to me. They were in a state of complete panic simply with the diagnosis. And this is not the only patient I've seen. I've seen several of them. You have to give them sleeping medicines. We have to give them anxiety medicines to calm them down. Why? Uncontrolled mind. Tell me any other problem in society. Raise your hand or unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, there's a problem going on with Russia and Ukraine right now in Europe.
What is the problem? I don't watch news, so I don't know. What is the
Okay, Russia is threatening to invade Ukraine if Ukraine chooses to join NATO, which is the North American Treaty Organization with the US.
Okay. So why does Russia want to attack?
Because they feel that if Ukraine joins NATO, then all the American and Western European forces will come directly to the Ukrainian border, Ukrainian-Russian border, and that is a direct threat to Russia's national security.
Right. So basically, it's a perceived threat. Perceived threat, and they are identifying themselves as Russia. We are one country. We are one group of people, and that's another group of people, and they will be aggressive towards us, and only way to survive is to kill them. If they are not with us, then we have to kill them. We have to finish them. This mentality is coming from what? From uncontrolled mind. Because we are just speculating and we are perceiving things in a certain way, that this is what is going to happen, then this will happen, then that will happen, then this will happen, and then we'll be at threat. Nothing has happened. It's just a perceived threat. And because of that, uncontrolled mind, uncontrolled anxiety, uncontrolled speculation of the mind, they want to destroy a whole nation. They want to risk a world war. It could be a world war. Who knows? Nuclear war. So, uncontrolled mind. Tell me any other problem. These are pandemic and Ukraine, Russia. This is like on a community level or a national level, but tell me some individual level problems.
Let's say violence against women.
Violence against women.
Physical, sexual violence. Yeah.
Physical and sexual violence against women. What is the root cause of this? It is lust. It is lust and a tendency to control others. We want to control others. We want to exploit others. We want to enjoy others. I am the enjoyer. That is exactly what Krishna is telling us, that we have to give up this mentality that I am the enjoyer, because we are not meant to be enjoyers. We are meant to be enjoyed by God. So this tendency to enjoy others is called lust. What is lust? The desire to enjoy others is called lust. And uncontrolled lust, which is a disease of the mind. Uncontrolled lust is a disease of the mind, is the cause of all the rapes, sexual offenses, and so many things. It is such a problem, simply because of uncontrolled mind. Mind has many diseases. Just like the physical body can have many diseases, the physical body can get a sore throat, strep throat, physical body can get a heart attack, can get a stroke, can get a cancer. The mind also can get diseases. If you read the medical literature, these diseases are called depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia. But what about lust? Is lust not a disease? Is anger not a disease? Is envy not a disease? Is greed not a disease of the mind? When we came for the introductory session, Ahmed pointed out 7. Remember, Ahmed? 7 things you pointed out. Lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, false ego, and the tendency to criticize, find faults with others. Are these not diseases of the mind? They are. And a diseased mind means uncontrolled mind. The mind is not under control. The mind is not healthy. We are not in a healthy state of mind. So to rape someone, to molest someone, to attack someone sexually, it is such a sick state of mind. Someone has to be really sick in the mind to do that. And this is because of lust, because of uncontrolled mind. So you see how the mind is an enemy on an individual level, on a national level, and on an international level. Uncontrolled mind. We have uncontrolled. Any other problem you can think of? Cyber security, greed for money, uncontrolled mind. Any problem?
All interpersonal relationships. Those are all presented after mind.
Black lives matter. Blue lives matter. You know, all these things, problems in society, you know, injustice against someone because of the color of their skin. Because you have a dark color, I am superior to you. This mentality is coming from a sick mind. And then committing atrocities against the black community. This comes from a sick mind. And then, because there has been injustice against the blacks, to kill the cops, to just randomly go, 2 cops are drinking a cup of coffee in Starbucks, you just go and boom, 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 you shoot them. This is also coming from a sick mind, uncontrolled mind. So you see, all the problems of society, they are coming from uncontrolled mind. And Bhagavad Gītā is teaching us something very practical. This is not some theoretical, philosophical session that we are having on a Saturday afternoon because we have nothing better to do. This is something very real. This is something very practical. We are living in a real world and we are facing real problems, and Bhagavad Gītā is giving us real solutions. Which school is teaching us to give up the desire for sense gratification? Tell me this. Harvard, MIT, Stanford, Emory, nowhere we are being given this education that we have to control the mind. The mind, when it is controlled, is a friend. The mind, when it is uncontrolled, it is the worst enemy, my friends. This is what Krishna is saying. I repeat, when the mind is uncontrolled, it is our worst enemy. The mind, when it is controlled, can be the best friend. Mind can be the best friend. And I'll give you an example of this. We saw negative examples, how the mind can be the worst enemy. Because see, analyze it from a medical point of view. Chandarji, you can help me here. If we put our body through a scanner, MRI scan or a CT scan, we can see the brain, we can see the heart, we can see the spinal cord, the nervous system, the digestive system. But can we see the mind, Chandar? Is there any CT scan where we can see the mind?
Actually, at the present time, no. But there are data is ongoing in particular in the world of psychiatry, how to even diagnose the activity of the mind and where we can diagnose the depression by doing those. But those are not practical. Those are very in early and preliminary stages. They are trying to go after it.
They're trying to, okay, yeah. So we cannot see the mind. We can, Chandarji is saying that they are doing research to get an idea about the activity of the mind. That is a symptom. That is a symptom. I have got sore throat. I have got anosmia. I cannot smell. That is a symptom of COVID. Having fever, shortness of breath, is a symptom of COVID. Right? Similarly, on the scan, you see on a functional PET scan or something, you may see the activity in the brain. That is a symptom of the mind. But my question is, can we see the mind? Like we can see the heart, we can see the brain, we can see the vocal cords, we can see the ear. Can we see the mind? Where is the mind situated? Is it in the brain? Is it in the heart? What are the dimensions of the mind? What is the shape of the mind? We know heart shape. We know the shape of the brain. What is the shape of the mind? That no one knows.
So Prabhu, you are right. That those are the activities of the mind, not truly the shape of the mind. I agree.
Correct. So there is a difference between the physiology of the mind and the anatomy of the mind. I'm talking about the morphology, the anatomy of the mind. That nobody knows. So the point is, we can see the brain, we can see the heart, we can see the bowels, we cannot see the mind. So is it rational to conclude, can we hear the mind? Can I hear your mind? Can I hear your mind? Can I hear your mind? No. Can you hear my mind? No. Yes. So you cannot see the mind. You cannot hear the mind. Can you smell the mind? Can you taste the mind? No. So is it rational to conclude that because we cannot see the mind, smell the mind, hear the mind, taste the mind, touch the mind does not exist? Is that very wise to say that the mind does not exist? But that's what people do to God. We cannot see God. We cannot touch God. We cannot hear God. So God doesn't exist. You see? So mind is subtle. That's why it cannot be seen. The body is gross. It has a structure. The mind is subtle. But my point is, my dear friends, please pay attention. The subtler an object, the more powerful it is. The mind is subtler than the gross body, but the mind controls the gross body. You see? Now, if I want to drink water, who is telling me to drink water? Who is telling me I'm thirsty? The mind. If I want to praise someone because I want something from that person. Oh, you have got a nice shirt. You're looking handsome. I like your perfume you're wearing. Very nice. I'm trying to flatter someone because I want something from that person. So who is telling me to do all this? The mind. So I'm speaking because my mind is dictating. I am walking somewhere because my mind is dictating. So this body is gross. Body can be seen. Body can be touched. Body can be smelled. The mind cannot be seen. Mind cannot be touched. But the mind controls the gross body. The subtle mind controls the gross body. Think about it. The subtler the energy, the more powerful it is. Okay. Kamlaji, how far are you sitting from me? Very far, right? Jayakumar Prabhu is sitting right in front of me in the same room. As I'm speaking, Jayakumar Prabhu can hear me. If Jayakumar Prabhu goes further and further away, but I'm depending on these vocal cords to communicate with him, to make myself audible to him. As Jayakumar Prabhu will go further and further away, I have to speak louder and louder and louder, and I have to scream to make myself audible. But Kamlaji, to make myself audible to you, do I need to scream? No, because I'm using something called as Wi-Fi, internet. Can I see the internet? Can I touch the internet? Can I taste the internet? Can I smell the internet? No. Internet is subtle, but it is more powerful than my vocal cords. You see? The subtler the energy, the more powerful it is. The mind is subtle, but it is super powerful. Super powerful. It controls the body. It controls the body. If someone is having a breakup in a relationship, how depressed they become? They hear blue songs, they take to alcohol to drown their sorrows in a glass of wine. They do so many things. Their physical body is perfectly healthy, but they cannot take the mental agony, the mental anguish that they are going through. As a physician, I can tell you, my dear friends, not many people commit suicide because of physical pain. 99% of suicides are committed because of emotional pain, mental pain. What is more powerful in experience? Physical pain or mental pain? Look at people who commit suicide. Their physical body is completely healthy, but they have so much pain in their mind that living becomes intolerable and they prefer death. This is the power of mind when it is uncontrolled. Hare Krishna. This is what Krishna is teaching us. Was this taught to us in school? Was this taught to us in the best university? No. Bhagavad Gītā is teaching us for free. For free. Uncontrolled. Now let me give you an example of a controlled mind. We will do anything to save our skin, to save our body, to save our life, isn't it? There is one devotee, all of you have heard about her, Ladini Mataji. She's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Incredible lady. She is such a source of inspiration for me. There is not one day that passes when I don't think about her. I have never seen her. I have never met her. She left this world in the year 1990, when she was exactly 40 years old. She was born in 1950 and she was killed in the year 1990. She was 40 years. I am 42. She was younger than me when she died. Ladini Mataji. She was born in Detroit, Michigan. Very wealthy family. Her father was a surgeon, very wealthy physician, and very well-to-do family, had like the best childhood growing up in Detroit. When she was 19 years old, she was living with her boyfriend. They graduated from school, they went to college, and they were living in the same rented apartment, boyfriend and girlfriend together. They were living, they were having a good life. And someone gave and distributed them Bhagavad Gītā in Detroit. They read Bhagavad Gītā, the same book that we are reading, Bhagavad Gītā, and their life completely transformed. Both of them, they got married and they moved into the temple as husband and wife. They got initiated by Srila Prabhupada, and that's it. She just gave her life to Krishna. At the age of 19, she became a devotee. From the age of 19 to 40, she practiced just pure devotion. She was the pujari for Jagannath Baldev Subhadra in New Vrindavan for 18 years. She was living alone on a mountain top, serving Jagannath Baldev Subhadra. 6 times a day she would cook for Krishna, offer. 6 times a day she would do aarti. She would chant 64 rounds every day. She would sleep only for 2 hours. And she was so special, so mystical. There was practically no money there. And when she was in Detroit, when she was just a new devotee, their monthly rent, the temple was a rental property. In those days, this is 1969. She became a devotee in 1969. In 1969, the rent was $500 per month. The Chicago temple, the Detroit temple. And they were hand to mouth. They had like no means of earning any money. That time only there was teachings of Lord Chaitanya and Bhagavatam first 3 cantos. That's all there was. And they would distribute these books, and whatever money came, they would maintain the temple. If some generous person wants to donate, that's it. 1 month, it was the first of the month, and they were supposed to pay the rent, and there was no money. And the temple president told, we have no money, let's just go on Harinam book distribution, let's see if we can raise some funds. Ladini Mataji is intensely praying to Srila Prabhupada and to Gaur Nitai that please reciprocate. This is your temple. Please reciprocate. Please give us something. And a tall man dressed in suit and tie, he walks up to her, says, excuse me, ma'am, I want to give a little donation, gives an envelope. And she thanks him, opens the envelope. There are 5 $100 bills in it, $500. She looks up, thank you so much. And the man is gone. This is Ladini Mataji. She had so many mystical experiences like this in her life. Years later, she was alone in New Vrindavan. Cold winter. There is like 2-3 feet of snow. This is up in the West Virginia mountains. very cold place. She's alone on a mountain top worshipping her Jagannath. And in the evening, every evening, she makes a fruit offering. And there is nothing. There's nothing there. Someone just came and gave her a few lemons, 30 lemons. And every evening, the fruit offering would be, she would take a lemon, cut it into half a lemon, she would squeeze in water, make some sugar in it, and offer it as lemonade. And the other half lemon was a fruit offering. That's the only fruit I have for you, Krishna. So she would peel the lemon, and on the pulp of the lemon, she would sprinkle some salt and water to make it a little tasty. Salt and sugar, she would sprinkle and offer it like a fruit salad, like a fruit plate. That's all that Jagannath used to get. And she did it because there was nothing there, no fruits, nothing growing. After a few days, she was just crying one day while making the offering that, my dear Jagannath, I feel bad. This is all I have to offer you. A glass of lemonade and a half-cut lemon with some sugar sprinkled on it. I want to do better than this. I want to give you so many fruits. I want to offer you so many fruits. I want to offer you a dozen navel oranges. I want to offer you mangoes from South America. Because when it's winter in the northern hemisphere, it's summer in South America. And they grow in Brazil and all, they grow mangoes just like in India. I want to offer you a dozen mangoes, Jagannath. Oh, I wish I could offer you kiwis. I wish I could offer you bananas. I wish I could offer you pears. In her mind, she's thinking like this. And when she's making the offering, ringing the bell with her left hand, chanting the mantras, she's the only one living there. She hears the door open and close 3-4 times. As if someone is coming in, going out, coming in, going out, coming in, going out. But she cannot, she's on the altar offering. She cannot look or she cannot, get distracted. She just continues to offer. When she opens her eyes, everything that Ladini Mataji meditated upon, I wish, everything was there on the altar, on the offering plate. There were mangoes, there were pears, there were apples, there were bananas, everything was there. This is a true story, my dear friends. This was Ladini Mataji. 18 years she served. After that, the Lord told her, now I want you to go and preach. Spread this message. You have served us enough. Go and spread this message. She left New Vrindavan. Long story. She left New Vrindavan, and ultimately her calling was, I want to go to Africa, especially West Africa, where countries like Liberia, they were torn by a civil war. You can look it up. In the year 1989, there was a civil war raging in Liberia, in the Western Africa. Sierra Leone and other countries. It was very bad. The same place where a few years ago there was a Ebola epidemic. So in West Africa, Ladini Mataji was serving, and United Nations was sending shiploads of relief food because the warlords had just taken control of all the economy, all the market, all the food. They were controlling everything, and people were starving to death. Every day, few thousand people were being killed in the civil war. And there was a ISKCON temple in Liberia. And Ladini Mataji happened to be there when the civil war broke out. And Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj wrote her a telegram, immediately evacuate. Because United States was sending Marines to evacuate all the US citizens, all the Red Cross workers, anybody who was there in Liberia, because it was a horrible civil war. People were being massacred like anything. And she was told, immediately evacuate. You are a US citizen, just evacuate. She said no. Because she had preached to some new devotees there in Liberia, locals. And they had joined the temple and they were learning the basics of Krishna consciousness. She said, I cannot leave them now. If I leave them, what will happen to their Krishna consciousness? I am like a mother to them. I cannot leave them. She decided, she chose to stay back. Srila Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj wrote another letter. Please come back. Please evacuate. It's not safe. She said, I just cannot leave these young brahmacharis. They're like my children. I cannot leave them. So I'm going to stay. She stayed. And one morning during Mangalarati, Brahma Murta, the person called as Prince Johnson, you can look it up. He's still there. Prince Johnson in Liberia, Civil War, 1990. He came with his soldiers. They were armed with machine guns. and they rounded up all the devotees. There were 9 devotees. There were 2 ladies, one African lady, one American lady, that is Ladini Mataji, and 7 African brahmacharis. That's all in the temple. That was the congregation. So they rounded up everyone, and there's a river close to the temple. They took them to the bank of the river. This is early morning. And Prince Johnson said, I will not kill women. I'm an honorable man. I will never kill a woman. So both of you, you go. You are free to go. But these 7 men, I will gun them down. And he ordered his soldiers to shoot them. They were holding machine guns. Ladini Mataji said that these are devotees of Krishna. They were young, brand new devotees. But they were chanting. Ladini Mataji said, these are Vaishnavas. They are devotees of Krishna. You cannot kill them. I will not stand by and watch them get killed. She's just a simple lady wearing sari. With her bare hands, she attacked that squad of soldiers armed with AK-47s. She said, before you shoot any of them, first you have to shoot me. I will not stand and watch them get killed. You cannot do this to them. Don't hurt the devotees of the Lord. And she attacked Prince Johnson, who was the president of Liberia. He had usurped the power, and he had, in a political coup, he had become the president. She attacked the president of the country, Prince Johnson, and the soldiers. She said, no, you cannot do this. Stop. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. And she was the first one to be gunned down. They put so many bullets through her body, and they threw her body in the river. Her body was never found. Only her sari was found with hundreds of holes in it, bullet wounds. Her sari was found floating. The reason I'm telling the story, it's an extreme example, but it is an extremely positive example of someone whose mind is controlled. You see, our tendency is beg, borrow, or steal. I want to save my skin. I want to make sure that I live longer so that I can enjoy. Why do we want to live longer? Enjoy. I want to enjoy in this world. But what does Krishna say? You have to give up the desire to enjoy in this world. And Ladini Mataji's mind was so controlled that she could have walked away safe. But she chose not to. Such great souls we may not be able to imitate, but we should draw immense inspiration from them. Her mind was so controlled that she had no desire to enjoy in this world. She had no desire to live a long life. She only had a desire to please Krishna and Krishna's devotees. And her feeling was, these are my children. Tell me, Mallika, will a mother ever abandon her children when they are being shot dead? Ladini Mataji had a mother. Ladini Mataji. Mataji means mother. She actually had that feeling of mother. These are my children. I will not abandon them. And she fought for them. Serving the Vaishnavas, protecting the Vaishnavas. Why? Because by the practice of Krishna consciousness, her mind was completely controlled. She was not agitated. She was not remorseful, regretful. Oh, come on, I have to do this. Recently, a few years ago, there was a cruise ship that sank near Italy. Many of you must have read. A cruise ship, you can look it up. I'm forgetting the name of the cruise ship. This was 5-6 years ago. Off the coast of Italy, it sank. And the first person off the cruise ship was the captain. True story, you can look it up. The first person off the ship was the captain. And so many people died. So many people died. A friend of my friend from Bombay died. He was a Christian boy, and he was working as one of the workers on the cruise ship, serving, cooking in the kitchen. So he was never found. His body was never found. So many people died because the captain of the ship was the first person off. And here is Ladini Mataji, who could have easily gone away, walked away scot-free, unscathed, but she chose to stay for a higher cause. Because mind is controlled. Because mind is not diseased. Mind is not infected with lust, anger, greed, envy, pride, and false ego. Mind is not infected with these diseases, with these infections. And this mind can become purified through the practice of Krishna consciousness. So this is the importance of controlling one's mind. Whenever negative thoughts come in our mind, we have to be mindful of the mind. We have to be mindful of the mind, that this is a trick of the mind. Why should I do this? This is wrong, unethical, immoral. I will not do it. We have to use our intelligence and control the mind, because mind is very powerful. But when the mind is saying, let me stay here for my children, I will not abandon my children, I cannot do that. That is my service to Prabhupada, to take care of these devotees. I will not leave them. When the mind is good friend, such a mind, controlled mind, selfless mind, is a best friend. Uncontrolled mind, enemy. So mind can be enemy also and friend also. And sometimes our mind is our friend, sometimes our mind is our enemy. It is dynamic. It is not that, all right, from today, happy friendship day, mind, from today we are friends. And from today the mind is going to be controlled. It doesn't work like that. The mind is dynamic. Sometimes he'll be friend, sometimes he'll be enemy. When the mind is a friend, we have to encourage the mind. Yes, yes. Good job, my friend. And when the mind is an enemy, when bad thoughts come, negative thoughts come, thoughts impelled by lust, greed, envy, pride come, we have to identify and chastise the mind with the intelligence. No. And where we get the intelligence from? From Bhagavad Gītā. It's called spiritual intelligence. Bhakti-Yoga. Buddhi means intelligence. So with the Bhakti-Yoga, with our intelligence, spiritual intelligence, we have to control the mind. When it is an enemy. And when it is a friend, encourage. So we have friends and we have enemies, right? We should not have enemies, but we have friends and we have people who are not really friends. So those who are friends, we encourage them. We take care of them. And those who are not, we keep a respectful distance. That is exactly what we have to do with the mind. But for that, we have to be mindful of the mind. Not just go with the flow. No, no, no. Human life is not meant to go with the flow. Even insects, and they go with the flow. We are not like that. Human beings have to have discretion. So therefore, you have to be mindful of the mind. We'll continue the subsequent verses next time. It's 4 o'clock. If anyone has any comments or questions, we can take them. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Bhagavad Gītā ji ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Hare. If there are no questions, then we can end it here. Tushar Prabhu, yes, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the sharing wonderful examples with us. I don't know if we've reached that, we finished that shloka yet, but the word for mana and atmana is kind of merged in text 5 that we just read. So is there a purpose in Krishna speaking that way? Atmana, atmanam.
Yes. So the word Atma in Sanskrit has several meanings. Atma can mean the soul. Atma can also mean the Paramatma. In some places in Bhagavad Gītā and other Vedic literatures, the word Atma is used to indicate Krishna, Paramatma. Atma can, of course, mean the Jivatma, the living spirit soul. Atma can also mean the mind. Atma can also mean the intelligence. And Atma can also mean the physical gross body. So the word Atma has different meanings. It depends on the context. Here it is used in the context of the mind. So I'll just read that verse. This is verse number 5 that Tushar Prabhu is saying. Uddared atmanatmanam natmanam avasadaye atmaiva hi atmano bandhur atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Uddaret means uddhar karna, to deliver, to liberate. Atmana, by the mind. Atmanam, the conditions also. So here Atmana means mind, and here Atmana means the soul. So Krishna is playing with words. This is Krishna's poetic ability. He's playing with words. Na Atmanam, again it's used as a conditioned soul. Avasadayet, put into degradation. Atma, now here it is again meaning the mind. Eva, certainly he, indeed. Atmanaha, again conditioned soul. Bandhu means friend. Atma, now again it is used as a mind. to indicate mind. Eva, certainly. Ripu, we know, is enemy. Atmana, the conditioned soul. So alternate, Krishna has used played with the word Atma. So very poetic. Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hi atmano bandhur atmaiva ripuratmanaha. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. Now, Srila Prabhupada is explaining, giving your answer, Tushar Prabhu, in the purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Atma denotes body, mind, and soul, depending upon different contexts, different circumstances. In the yoga system, the mind and the conditioned soul are especially important. Since the mind is the central point of yoga practice, Atma refers here to the mind, like that. So you can read Prabhupada's purport. Everything will be very clear. Okay, Tushar Prabhu? Hare Krishna. So thank you very much, dear devotees. If there are no more questions, we'll end it here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Have a very blissful week, and Krishna willing, see you all next Saturday. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Radhe
Radhe Radhe. Thank you.
Hare